We made it. We made it. It's the end of Season 2 of The Boys, and wow, did this show go out on top. I mean, it's been constantly good throughout the entire season. Is it as good as Season 1? I go back and forth on, just because that first season was so tight, so clean, everything about it was so perfectly placed and edited and put together. This is definitely up there, though. It's still really good. And this finale was no exception. It just goes to show you something I always feel about comic book properties, is you can push the boundaries as much as you want, but the status quo will always remain the same. And it's a good thing. This is an example of it being a good thing. Sometimes you dig yourself into a wall. I don't know why you dig yourself into a wall. I meant to say into the dirt. Or you back yourself into a corner is probably the right analogy there. And you can't get out of it, so your story fails because of it. Not here. You set up a scenario where there was no way out, and when you found the way out, it worked perfectly and it made a lot of sense. Great story, great final episode. So let's dive into it. Let's end our Season 2 Boys reviews with this final episode. We open up and we get a PSA announcement for children at school. If a supervillain is in your hallways, find a weapon, hide and cover, and your teacher has a gun. Of course, that's America, baby. It's just, yes, of course. Thank you for doing this. Homelander's giving a little speech there. He's just like, yeah, don't worry. A hero will come to save you, because Homelander's such a great guy. I love it. It's just so fun. Just a great way to open this episode while we get into everything happening in here. So we kind of have our plan in place, and that plan is we're just going to kill them all. We're just going to kill them all. What's the point in waiting or doing anything about it? Let's just go in, guns a-blazing, and kill them all. It's kind of Huey and Anne who say, well, we can have a plan here. Give us 24 hours. We're going to find someone that might be able to testify against them. And then if not, we'll go from there. So when they leave, in comes Rebecca, because Homelander and Stormfront stole Ryan last episode, and she's pissed off. And I love this a lot because she just comes in to see Billy. He's willing to do what it takes, what he has to do, and I love it a lot. I also like that everybody's just being so nice to Rebecca, because all they heard were good stories about her. They're giving her food, they're giving her drinks, everyone's just crowding around her, being so nice, and Billy's the one that's like, oh, just back off, okay? We got stuff to do, come on, guys. That was fun, because we'd never seen them interact with Rebecca yet, so having that moment, I'm like, great, this is what you needed with them. Everyone has respect for Rebecca, because they know the kind of guy Butcher is, so anybody that can tame that beast deserves your respect, and absolutely they do. I love that a lot. It was really fun. And of course, the person who Huey and Anne are going to get to talk to and to testify, it's of course Queen Maeve, and she's on a bender. Let's just put it that way. Her house is a mess. She's been drinking, she's been smoking, she's lighting up a joint when they walk in, and I love it. This is the Queen Maeve I wanted the entire season. She stole this episode. They were really setting her up the entire season for this episode, just because of the way she acted, how she handled everything going on. This is where she shined as an actress and as a character. You just see she's like, I'm not going to help you. I did enough for you, saving your life. Get out of my house. I'm not what do you want from me? I can't give you anything else. I'm done with you. I'm done with this. I'm laying low. Please don't. And they leave defeated, and of course they do. So they're driving away, of course, and they're like, what are we going to do now? There's nothing we can really do. Of course, the conversation comes up about mothers, because Anne's having some issues with her own mother, and she doesn't know how to trust her. Her mom gives her this new cross necklace that she could wear to find faith again. I like that symbolism, too. We spent a long time in the last episode talking about the relationships of fathers and sons, and I think that was a pretty compelling angle, but now we're doing the mother and daughter thing there of Anne and her mom. And also we learn a little bit about Huey's mother and how she left them when they were young, and that's where he gets his obsession with Billy Joel from. And as they're driving, who breaks into the car? A-Train. And he's like, I want to get back into 7. You know, they were doing polls at my church, and they're saying the Deep's probably going to get back in just because I got to appease to the Nazi lady because I'm black. And it's like, fuck. God, that's such a good angle. I still make... Okay, Stormfront being a woman was the smartest decision this show ever did. Just because if you made it a thick, bulky, white dude, it doesn't have the same impact as a social justice warrior preaching the things of a social justice warrior, but as a Nazi. That has way more impact, and it worked so well for this show. And just having A-Train be like, fuck that Nazi bitch, okay? I'm not putting up with her shit. I want to get back into the 7. I'm going to do it, so here's all the information on her. Bring her the down, bros. Let's go. I don't know why that's the one I just bleeped out to swear, but whatever. So Butcher does have a plan where he can just kind of save Ryan and get him back, keep Rebecca safe. And he's going to go talk to Edgar, Giancarlo Esposito's character. They meet in this fancy diner. You can tell it's just great. And this is where Giancarlo shows off how much of an actor he is. Because in every scene, it's the little things like this that I love about people who care about projects like this and understand this. When they're having the dinner, just like the way he would move his body or the way he would pause for a certain period of time, just letting everything come into play naturally. The character, the rhythms, how he handles himself around Butcher. He's a little more loose, but he's also like kind of reserved. So the idea comes into play as to like he hates Stormfront. He hates her and what she's preaching, but he can't do anything about it, because if a man of his stature and his color of skin starts to act hysterical, that's when Stormfront replaces you. And as long as he's there, he can keep Vought at least on the right track. Nobody really wants to release the Compound V throughout the world and give it to like the military and the police forces. But that's where it's going now because of the events that happened. And it's like, damn, that is a lot of good stuff going on. So they come up with this plan. Butcher says he will give them Ryan, but he gets to have Rebecca. And kind of like, okay, I knew right away that Butcher had another angle going on. I know there was going to be something else going on there, and we see it later on. We get some interesting moments with Homelander and Ryan. You know, he comes to see him when he's at the Vought offices. He's like, I want to spend time with my dad. They go to Planet Vought. Homelander and Stormfront are instantly surrounded by adoring fans, and Ryan feels uncomfortable, so they go to this far-off cabin that nobody's really around. And that's kind of where Ryan starts to show who he truly is, and he values intellect and education more than brute force. You know, he's reciting the states by name in alphabetical order, and you're like, this kid's pretty smart. Like, what's going on here? Why is Ryan gonna do that? So that's just like a subtle thing, just to show you like the differences in how these two were raised, Ryan and Homelander, because you know they're made to be similar types of characters, these all-powerful beings. Homelander, of course, was an experiment. Well, here Ryan is like, education, I need to know how to be a proper person. And I think that's a really cool way to show it. He does kind of get to Homelander a little bit more, like, hey, if you can show me how to use my powers. And they have a nice scene where Ryan's trying to like laser a deep action figure, and it's not working, of course. And I know it's happening. I know it's happening in the real world, but it's taken them a long fucking time to get action figures from the boys. Like, they did a whole speech, they did like a whole press thing a couple months ago saying it was coming, but God, come on, you guys, let's pump that shit out. Where's my Hot Toys? Where's my NECA figures? Let's go. Let's get these out of there, man. We should do it. And as they're having that little thing, Stormfront's news leaks because, of course, Huey and leaked it, and everyone knows that Stormfront's a Nazi, so everything is coming full circle for our entire team. It's crazy. I love it. And then we get to probably the most intense scene of the entire show. Our plan is we're going to set off some sonic, like just some loud sonic noises. Homelander's going to have to find them and stop that. Stormfront is no longer there, so Ryan is all alone in the cabin. And this is the perfect time for Rebecca and Butcher to come in and sweep him out. And they do. They take him. They start to drive away. This is where Butcher goes full circle. He's like, I can't separate you from your son. I set you up to Edgar. I can't do it. Please leave with him. Please just leave. Don't make this harder for me. Just go. I loved that moment because it was just such a needed moment between those two characters. It was so perfect. They're about to drive away, but who comes to stop them? It's Stormfront. Flips the car. I'm like, fuck, you can't do this. You cannot kill Rebecca or Ryan or Melk in this situation. None of them die in that situation. That's good. And then we get the best moment of the episode. Okay, I love when a show does this. I don't know if I'm in the minority on that. But do the scene where your female characters are all fighting, doing like a powerful action scene. That's cool. The problem is most of them have been handled poorly. Like in Avengers Endgame. What a poorly executed way to do that. But here in The Boys, when we have Stormfront, who's a Nazi, coming at them, we have Starlight and Kimiko fighting her. Just some great punches, some great action. Kimiko's getting in some great hits here. I love it. I also love that Frenchie, Melk, and Huey are just standing back like, what the hell are we supposed to do? That was cool. And as soon as they start losing, you see Kimiko's neck get snapped. And Stormfront's like, I'm taking all you bitches down. And then in comes Queen Maeve. And we get the best scene of the entire series. I don't care. This is the best scene of the series. Stormfront is getting the shit kicked out of her. Literally kicked on the ground to the point where she has to get up and fly away. It's Kamiko, it's Starlight, and it's Queen Maeve just kicking the shit out of her. And I'm just like, this is how you do it. This is how you show women just beating the shit out of a Nazi. This is fucking awesome. I love it. This is what we need. More of this, please. More of this. This team up was sick. I love it. And like Frenchie says, girls do it better. Like they get it done. Like I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, dude. They do. They do. Yeah, that was awesome. That was so cool. Such a great scene. Such a great moment. Actually, it's just really awesome. And as we go deeper into the forest, Butcher's trying to get Rebecca and Ryan out of there. And a crazed up Stormfront comes to attack them. Literally has Rebecca up against a tree. And this is where we pay off the scene we had last with Ryan, where he finally uses his laser vision. And this was so perfectly edited, because if we saw the laser hitting Stormfront, it wouldn't have the same impact. The fact that we fade to white and then we re-emerge, Stormfront is literally on the ground, missing her limbs. She's burnt up. I forgot to mention Rebecca stabs her in the eye earlier. She's breaking. She's going to die. I don't think she's dead, but we'll get back to that. She is just reciting some German words, probably like a prayer to keep her alive. Butcher is tossed away. You can see like the scorch marks on his knuckles. And then we just cut and we see Ryan crying in the corner of the forest area. And you just like, oh no, he did something. He did something bad. And we just see Rebecca is bleeding. And you just don't know anything. And you're just like, yes, thank you. What an intense moment. And this, you saw it in the diner with Giancarlo Esposito. In this moment when Rebecca is losing the blood from her neck and she is dying, and Butcher just walks over to her, not sure what to do, how to do any of it. This is where you see Karl Urban as an actor. Just the intensity on his face, the way he just slowly like stutters his words and can't really talk. That's amazing. That is masterclass actor. I love it. You cast this show perfectly. It's amazing how well everybody fits into this show and to everything going on here. I love it. Then Homelander shows up. He sees Stormfront, and I love this. It's not even like a sadness that he's losing her. It's just like I'm never gonna have this again, am I? I think that's what he's feeling in this moment. He's seeing her body. It's probably she'll never recover from it. But I think he's just in this moment like, I'm never gonna have this again. Wow. And he goes to attack Butcher, but Ryan's like, nope, I'm not going with Homelander, Daddy. I'm staying here with Butcher, and just goes behind Billy. And I'm like, great. What are we gonna do here? Are we gonna have an intense show off where Homelander's trying to fight Butcher, and it's just gonna be like punching to see who can handle what? But nope. In comes Queen Maeve to save the day and say, if you kill anybody else here, I'm leaking this shit. Okay, and we see the plane crash from the first season. Awesome. That's pretty cool. I like that a lot. So he says, screw it, fine, we're done. Cut to a press conference. Of course, it was all Stormfront's fault. And we just kind of say, we wrongly incarcerated Starlight. And it's like, yeah, you did, didn't you? But you're still not a good guy, Homelander, so let's get past it. You can kind of chalk it up to maybe Stormfront was manipulating him, but he's still a piece of shit, isn't he? Of course he is. He still sucks. Great stuff. We kind of get a lot of conclusions to some storylines here, and I think it's important. I know when they were filming this, they already knew they were getting a season 3. I know they announced it when they were done filming, but they had to have known. That's why I was kind of like, this is where we're going for this finale? We're going to some of these angles. Stormfront is dead, I guess. I don't think she's dead. I think they're going to do a thing where she maybe either heals herself or they find someone to heal her. I think that's where they're going to go with that character, and that's okay. I like that a lot. But then we just wrap up a couple stories here, which I think is pretty cool. The first one being A-Train gets back on the 7. Yep, the Church of the Collective. They decide we need really anti-Nazi people right now. So A-Train, congratulations. We know you leaked it. You're back on the team. This pisses off the Deep so much. I just love how mad he's getting, and I just think, please, for the love of everything good in this world, make the Deep the bad guy for the next season. because that would be such a great ending for that character, a great storyline for that character. He's trying to be this bad guy, but he's so terrible at it, and nobody respects him or takes him seriously until he does like one major event, and suddenly they're like, oh shit, the Deep could kill people. Like the Kraken, he releases the Kraken onto a city or something. That'd be sick. That'd be cool. So the Deep is pissed off. He's not back in the 7. A-Train's happy he's back in. Everything is going good there. Huey decides he's going to take a break from spending time with the boys, which is probably all for the better. He's going to get a job working for Victoria Nguyen. I'm like, cool, perfect, good for you, Huey. I like that a lot. And, you know, we just wrap up some other stories. Kimiko and Frenchie decide they're going to go dancing, it's a moment they had earlier on where Frenchie's talking about a song and how, like, he's a dancer, he loves music, and of course, like, what's the point in living without music? I'm like, hell yeah, dude. Of course, you got to dance, you got to have fun once in a while. Melk goes to see his family again. We get a nice moment at the end there with Butcher too, where he's still with Ryan, and Ryan's like, I'm scared, I don't know what's going to happen to me. Butcher gives him the necklace that Rebecca gave him and just said, keep it safe, you'll be fine. Sends him with Mallory, and Mallory gives a hint to what we're probably going to see in season 3, and that is she's got money from Victoria Nguyen, and they are going to start an organization off the books for people to keep Soups in line. And Butcher, would you like to be a part of that? Of course, he walks away in a cool, stoic way, but come next season, we're going to see Butcher on that team, probably with our boys Frenchie, Melk, and Huey, and of course, Kimiko. Which I'm like, great, set that shit up, let's do it, let's do it. We get just a couple other smaller moments here, one of them being probably the most cathartic thing to ever happen to Homelander. I love it. He spent the entirety of this season kind of pining for a woman, whether it was what's her name, Stillwell, or Stillwell, I think it was Stillwell, whether it was Maeve in some senses, whether it was Rebecca, whether it was Stormfront. There was a woman in his life who gave him something he needed, but now there's no woman in his life, so he's gonna jerk himself off on top of the Vought building and just spray his load all over the city. Yeah, fucking awesome. Like, that is what you do with that character to show that he is pissed off. He has no women left in his life. So yeah, he's gonna jerk himself off. I love it. That is awesome. That is just so in character for him. It's the best. And you just, that wide shot of him on like the gargoyle, just, it's perfect. I'll probably put it up here if it gets by YouTube censors. We'll see. But I'm just like, fuck yeah, dude. That is sick. That is awesome. We also find out, surprisingly, who is the one that is blowing up the heads. Now, I thought it was going to be Giancarlo. It's not. To my surprise, we get a scene where Victoria Nguyen is talking to the head of the church. And I can't remember his character's name, but they're just talking like, "Ooh, well, thank you for your support. You know, everyone's playing everyone. Giancarlo's talking to the church. Victoria's talking to the church. Everyone's talking to the church." And then when they hang up the phone, his head explodes, and outside of the house is Victoria Nguyen. Her eyes turn misty, and she walks away because she is a soup. And you're like, that is frickin' dope. So now we have a woman who is going to be doing kind of the same thing Stormfront did, but now she is going to be doing it politically. And that's really fun. And of course, Huey takes a job with her at the end. So hell to the yeah, this was a way to end the show. Some great song choices, God only knows. You know, we got some Billy Joel playing in there. Great way to end this season. Great fun. I'm very excited for the next season, honestly. Like, it's so rare that you just find this show that so perfectly encapsulates everything you love about comic books and superheroes and flips it on its head in a way that's better than most things that are about comic books and superheroes. Like, I would rather watch anything created by Eric Kripke in this universe than anything else made by the MCU or DC or any of that, just because this is such an interesting dynamic. You're giving so much to these characters, so much reverence for everything they are and everything they do, and you have the top-notch casting and creatives behind it all. Like, I cannot wait to see what comes out of this show, what comes out of this universe. We're getting a frickin' spin-off set in a college where these kids have superpowers. They're horny, they're hormonal, they're angry, they're gonna kill each other while fucking. And I haven't been so excited for that before. That's awesome. I love this show. I'm so glad we got it. I'm so glad we exist in a world where The Boys, a comic book I cannot fucking stand, that I think is so angry and pissed off about the superhero genre, has found a way to television to make it more relevant and interesting and find a way to make these characters great. It's such a nice feeling. What a great send-off for the second season. I cannot wait for the third season. They are probably going to fast-track it like they've done with Miss Maisel in the past. Amazon, you can pick your projects well. I'm really happy for you. Nobody watched Utopia, though, so I'm sorry about that. So that is The Boys season finale. Isn't it awesome? Of course it's awesome. It's the season finale. Thank you guys so much for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, all that good stuff. Check out the rest of the season of the reviews I've done. You can find it in the, just somewhere on my channel, in the playlist. You'll find them there. And stay tuned for more content. As always, when I end a review for one show, I like to jump into another one. I think we'll take a break until either The Mandalorian or WandaVision, but we'll see what happens. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have fun, stay safe, good luck. Tsunami Studios.